Okay, I'm back working on it's a Honda Odyssey 2006 rear entertainment system. Has a DVD, leather package, all that stuff. Anyway, it's got about 136,000, almost 137,000 miles on it. And this strut started to leak on it. And then I noticed that there were some cracks in the lower A-arm rubber and stuff. And then the drive shafts are definitely, the boots are leaking really bad. And it started making this humming kind of vibration noise at about 38 to about 40, 41 miles an hour. And then it would kind of go away and you'd start hitting about 58, 59, 60, 61 miles an hour and it'd come back. And a friend of mine and I, we went out and drove it, and apparently, you know, you can kind of figure out if it's a wheel bearing or not. So if it's your right wheel or the passenger bearing, you drive the car and then you turn left, and that puts a load on the right side, and the hum should get more pronounced. And then if you turn to the right, then on the driver's side bearing, that gets put in a lot more load, and you know, you should be able to hear. And so we did that, you know, kind of making S's, and we couldn't really tell the difference. So I ordered the shock absorbers, or rather the strut assemblies. I just ordered the whole thing, springs, the whole thing. Honda. The lower A-arm, I went with Detroit axle, I think. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to have the van. It's still a very, very good van. It now needs a paint job. The paint on the top is flaking off, which is typical of what happens to a lot of these Hondas that were made. I don't know. I think it started like in 2004 all the way up to 2000, maybe 10 or something like that. And some of them Honda will repair the paint for you. Others they won't. On mine, they said that, you know, it wasn't a van that fell underneath that warranty. But anyway, okay. So how do you know if you have a strut that's gone bad on your Honda? How do you know what strut to get for it? Because you do want to get the correct strut. And let me just bring it around to here. And there's definitely this one is a blue, right? So when you look it up, when you look up the, you know, if you're going to buy an OEM strut assembly, it's going to say blue, red. They're different colors, white. And to make sure that you get the correct strut for your van, there's a tag on it, and hopefully that tag is still on there. In my case it was, and I'll go show you all in just a bit where they are, but basically right here. And you know, you get around to the back over here, and I shot a photograph with my phone, and that number right there is the actual number for this strut for this van. Okay, so that's how you know, because if you go online, like to an OEM, you know, online OEM Honda parts, whatever, and you go there, there's going to be about four different colors to choose from. And here also they even put, that's a blue, and it happens to be you know, it'll say whatever number, light blue or blue, whatever strut. And the next one might say yellow, the next one might say white, so on and so forth. The problem with age and time is that this fades, you know. So to get it exactly, you look at this. Now, if you're going to go Monroe and stuff like that, you know, that's a different story. Now, what happened to me was, you know, I didn't shoot any videos on changing these or changing the lower A-arms down here, because there's a whole bunch of guys that have done it online, and it was somewhat difficult for me because I'm the only one working on it, and I don't do this all the time. And in hindsight, what I would have done first was I would have replaced the struts first, and then just leave these bolts right here kind of just loose, and then go to the other side. Because what happened to me was I started with the lower A-arms, and they were somewhat difficult to put in, okay? And man, I wasted a lot of energy on that, and then I came to this guy. And by the time I got to this guy, which was about 2 or 3 hours later, man, I was really, really, really tired. And this thing weighs, just the strut alone weighs probably about, I don't know, 70, 80 pounds. And so you have to hold it up. There's three screws that you have to get through up in the the top of the body up there. And I had my son screw one of them in, and then I just let go. But man, it was a challenge. Okay. The driver's side took me about 4 or 5 tries, and my wife was helping me put the screw at the top. And finally, I mean, by that time I had been working on the van for about 5-6 hours, and I was really, really tired by that time. But anyway, managed to get them in. Now, why did I not change the axles? Well, the reason is that I ended up having an issue taking the nut off. Let me move back and then scroll down here. So I ended up having issues getting the nut off. Okay. So today, this is I did the lower arms and struts about a week and a half ago, and it's Saturday, the March the 26th, if I'm not mistaken. Saturday 2022. And so let me just show you what happened when I tried to get that nut off of there. I have a 3/4 drive to 1/2 inch, and it broke. It snapped it right in half. Okay, so and I do have an air gun, but what happened was, and I don't like to put blame on people, but the van had been taken in about, I think it was December of 2019, and they had to remove the transmission from it to replace a $2.59 rubber O-ring that goes between the engine block and the transmission for some oil passage. That was a $1,500 labor part, and they have to remove the axles. And I understand money is time and time is money, and these guys put this nut on there so darn tight with their air hammers. They have big I'm going to go on a limb and say that those dealerships and all mechanics have these massive compressors that can hold, they're probably 200-gallon, I have a measly old 30-gallon compressor that only goes up to like 125 psi, and those guys have, massive compressors that probably 200-gallon at 180 psi, and man, they can put a lot of pressure on this nut, and that nut's only supposed to be tightened to 242 foot-pounds, which is really, I mean, you should be able to take it off, but anyway, so today I'm getting ready to go through this challenge, and hopefully I'll be able to take it off. Worst case scenario, I'm going to heat it up, put some heat on it, hopefully expand it, and then hopefully it'll come off. So, all right. So let me stop there. So here are the old strut assemblies, and there's the actual tag, and in this case it's a 51602-SHJ-A350, and that's how you get the correct the actual correct part. Now you know yours may be different and stuff, but these are all going to the junkyard. One of them was leaking really bad. That bottom one right there, I know it's kind of hard to see, but it definitely was. It was leaking really bad. And there's the lower A arms. Okay, so it's that tag right there. Again, these are Honda original struts, and that's how you figure out whether, you know, to get the correct ones on that tag. All right, later. All right, so I did manage to get this is a 36 millimeter 3/4 inch for my breaker bar. This is a 3/4 inch breaker bar. I'm definitely going to try this first. What you do is you put a screwdriver underneath here, or in between right here, and then you try and turn it. You know what? I did work on this a little bit more just right now. Let me see if I can get my air ratchet and see if I can undo it with that real quick. Or hopefully loosen it up. Okay, let's see what happened here. You just do that number. Another thing that mechanics do is you take the center cap off the wheel. You put the tire back on and you let it down on the ground, and then you attempt to take it off that way. All right, let's see what will happen here. I don't know. So I'm really laying down on this thing, and it's on there. Okay. So the next thing, I don't want to stand on it, because if I stand on it, I may. Next thing is to take some heat to it. God, that is on there. All right. Yeah, like I said, you know, the guys they're at the dealership, man, you know, they're just trying to get the job done, and so they're rushing, and they're going to put these things on fairly tight. All right, let me go get my torch. Okay, so we managed to get the other one off. A buddy of mine is here helping me out, and so what he's doing is we managed to turn the wheel. He's in the car right now. He's putting the brake on, and I did try the hammer here. And same thing happened on the other side. Didn't want to come off. So now we're going to try it. I'm going to try and put my whole body on here and see if I can get this off. I'm hoping I can. We did with the other side. It did come off. Here we go. Yep, there it is. All right, let me see if I can get it off with this now. Alrighty, whew. Good. So that's how you got to do it. You probably have to have a buddy. The other way is to heat up the nut, get it to expand a little bit, undo it, or you put the tire back on. You let the weight of the car hold it for you. You take the center cap off, and then the weight of the car is holding the tire from spinning. So that's how you get it off. All right, be back in a while. Okay, so I'm on the passenger side, and we did manage to get the nut and the drive shaft is loose. I've been hitting it here, and it's loose. All right, so in the book on the what do you call it? The service manual, they suggest to loosen the lower ball joint down there. I kind of have an issue with that because this is very stiff. Okay, and so there's not much movement this way. Yeah, you're going to get some movement, and I think the only reason why they're saying that is because an alignment or whatever. I don't know. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it a different way. I am going to loosen these guys right here. I am going to loosen these guys to get this thing to pop out, but I'm going to have to undo this guy. I'm probably going to go ahead and undo this guy and hang it up at the top up here. Okay, the brake. Although, yeah, I do have to, because this is going to be taut when this comes back. And then I got to be real careful with the ABS guy right here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but here it goes over here. I'm going to have to be real careful with that guy. So that's kind of the way I'm going to go about this. All right, and then it's hard to see how I'm going to get that to get loose down there, but there is a nut. There's like a shield around the inner this guy way down in here, and there's a nut that sticks out on this side, and they suggest you can get your pry bar in there up against the nut, and this part will hit the metal part of that inner shaft, and then you just go, and it should come out. Yeah, should. So, all right, let me get that going here. And I'm probably not going to do too much video of this. I'll try and maybe videotape when I'm doing that, but this is fairly easy. There's two big bolts in here. I think they're 20 or maybe 19, 20 millimeter. You got to loosen them. The what do you call it? Anti-lock brake wire over here. It's just a plastic clip, but you got to be real careful. And what I'll do is I'll probably get some ties and tie this to this, and so that this thing doesn't drop all the way down. And because the anti-lock brake will still kind of be taut. I could remove it, but I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to try and do it without taking it off, because the van is a 2006, and I don't want to mess with that and then it break or something like that. But, okay, I'll be back in a while.